meeting of the Prairie City Council for April 9th, 2018 will now come to order. It's 6:01 p.m. Ms. Dickey.
City Councilman Brian Rowland. City Councilman Jonathan Randall. City Councilman Kendrick Jones.
Here.
City Councilman Wendy Williams. Here. City Councilman Paulette Barnett. Here.
And Ms. Boyer, would you be so kind as to lead us in the invocation, ma'am? And then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance right after.
Will you please bow our heads and say the Lord's Prayer in unison, please? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
And now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bless you. Bless you. Okay, citizen comments. We have a couple. Dr. Vita Brown?
Howdy.
Yeah, and you might be only. Don't see the other person.
Oh, okay. I wanted to say good evening to the beautiful citizens of Prairie. I love y'all smiling faces. Y'all look so happy and content here. To the mayor and the city council members that are here. Jonathan Randall and Brian Rowland in their absence. I wanted to bring up a point, and the meeting we had, not the last meeting we had, but the one before that, there was a discussion among city council members concerning the use of the city vehicle car. And you were here, but there was some, I was concerned that I wanted to bring it to your attention, and you all may need to revisit it, because in my humble opinion, I think that city council overstepped their boundaries. This home rule charter that I have, in terms of you all decided to delegate or assign some additional responsibilities to the secretary concerning the key. Section 4, where it says city secretary of the charter. It says she shall perform duties, other duties, it gives a list of duties, as the mayor shall assign to him or her, and those elsewhere provided in the charters and the laws of the state of Texas. Further down in section 7, where it says personnel rules, it says the mayor shall be responsible for personnel rules, which rules shall be submitted to the city council. The city council may accept and adopt such rules as proposed, or may adopt them with such amendments as the city council deems necessary, or may reject them in their entirety and direct the mayor to present new proposals at a subsequent meeting. Also, it says, where they're talking about the responsibilities of the mayor, it gives him the power over of all department heads, of all departments. So I think that, in my opinion, and like I said, I would like to have you all revisit it, because I think it's necessary. I think that, according to the city charter, the city council does not have the authority to give additional personnel rules to the secretary. That's the mayor's responsibility. Now, if y'all want to change the charter, or if I'm misreading the charter, that's okay. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Item number 1, consider and take action for approval. Let me just double check. Ms. Grady Paris or Ms. Maria Herrera are not with us? Okay, just double check. Okay, item 1, consider and take action for approval of the meeting minutes for the regular city council meeting on March 26, 2018. What's council's pleasure?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Jones.
I move that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes from the previous meeting be accepted. You've heard the motion, ready for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Departmental reports. Administration, Ms. Dickey?
And while we're on the subject of minutes, if you'll look, there were some additions to the minutes prior, and I did add those in so that you guys could see that those corrections were made. And we'll move forward with that. Okay? You'll notice in your minutes this time, changed the format just a little bit. We had some suggestions from you guys. So always trying to tweak and learn, and if it's easier for you guys, that we've done it in a format as prior, so that we don't switch it every time. Maybe we switch city secretaries, or if Myra has to do it, that it is in the same format. So I did get that taken care of for y'all. And if you have any suggestions, I'm very well open to that, and let's get that corrected.
Thank you.
Now, moving forward with elections, I was asked about election judges the last time, and I have contacted all the election judges, and they are going to work. So, as far as I know, we are ready to go with elections. On the 19th, Hart will be here doing demonstration for other election judges and for myself. So, we've already sent the cards over to them. They have little, like, data cards in them. They go to the company, and then they're FedExed back to us. Once they're here, the company will come and set them up on the 19th, make sure that everything is working correctly.
Oh, and for the record, let the minutes show that Councilman Randall did join us at 6:04.
I did.
I neglected, but I wanted to read it into the record. Okay. And for the record, who are the election judges, so that
We have
everyone knows?
Eula Richard, Miss Gwen, and
Ms. Gwen Carter?
Gwen Carter, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Gwen Carter, and Myra Cortez for judges.
And will you not need more, because you're covering 2 locations?
Yeah, we have Miss Thornton and also the other Miss Carter too. So I have 5, it's just 3 are election judges
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
able to
So-
make decisions.
So you're covered with everything you need?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's all.
Okay, any questions of Ms. Dickey, council? Okay, going to finance. Mr. Johnson.
Okay, good evening to the mayor, city council members, other department heads, and the residents of the city of Prairie, and friends of the community. We're 5 months in this fiscal period. You have your report, page 1. First of all, I did email a report to each one of you. Did y'all get those? Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure I'm using the right email addresses. Okay, to date, on the revenue side, we've done $2,047,000 versus a budget of $1,004,000. And again, that's expected this time because this is basically our high water mark as far as the revenue balance is concerned. And we'll see that in just a minute because of the property tax collections. And just a point on that, the property tax collection is doing real well for this time in the collection process. Expenditures, $1,200,000 versus a budget of $1,300,000, so we're pretty well right on budget there. And we have an increase of funds at the present time of $735,000, which is real well for this particular point in time in the fiscal process. If you go to page 2, that will show you all the individual cash accounts that the city has, starting with the tax department, $745,000 current, on down to the crime control and prevention. Total amount of cash at this time, if we add all our cash funds up, is $2,500,000. If we go over to page 3, I want to just kind of recognize the fact that I talk about where we are from a cash standpoint. If you look halfway the page there, you'll see tax department showing a cash balance of $745,000. Now that right there is basically where most of our funding reside to go forward as far as operations go and for debt service. If you look at page 4, you'll see due to debt service, $333,000. So what we have to do is transfer out of that $745,000, that $333,000 for debt service, and that's needed to make sure that we cover all the debt that we incur here at the city. I'd just like to go to page 5 now and just look at city sales taxes from a revenue standpoint and compare it to budget. We know that we've experienced a few more retail establishments in the city, and just to look at this line, you'll see that for the first 5 months we've taken in $213,000 versus a budget of $140,000. That's real well. So we're starting to see benefit from those new retail establishments. And you can, I want to just highlight this because that's only 2 or 3. See? And so if we can bring some more on board, then we can, that's been our strategy, that as we increase those retail establishments, those funds then will enable us now to bring that property tax down. See? So I just want to highlight that this will work, as you can see it here. So it is working from that standpoint.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Quick question on, you have one component of increasing the establishments, of course, but because the university, for example, has had a huge shortfall of student housing, and we've got them in contracted hotels, are our students from Brenham at least to Cypress, so they're spending those sales tax dollars that you're referring to
Somewhere else?
somewhere else,
If they were
buying
here.
gas, buying
Right.
food, and that sort of thing. So as we also increase the establishments and bring our students back to Prairie View so that they can have a Prairie View experience, that's also gonna benefit us because they're spending the money that you're referring to locally instead of somewhere else.
You're absolutely correct. And to add to that, retail establishments, especially your major franchises, they look at rooftops. So as your rooftops increase here in the city, then that's going to encourage them to establish more franchises here, which will enable them to spend their money here as opposed to going to other areas where those franchises are. Example, McDonald's. You have a McDonald's here as opposed to going to MC at the McDonald's. Popeyes here as opposed to going to Waller to Popeyes.
You know, maybe you should say Pizza Hut and KFC.
Pizza
who
Hut,
work
KFC,
together
what have
instead
you,
of-
right.
So
But
we
that's
got
the way
real
it works.
examples.
Yeah, that's the way it works. That's the way it works. So the plan will work because we clearly see it here. And I also want to highlight, and I know Ms. Alexander will highlight that in her report, in that municipal court. Past years, municipal court was struggling to make budget. Municipal court, if you see here, is $78,000 versus a budget of $62,000. So they're doing real well. I want to commend you on that, Ms. Alexander. Okay, so I want to highlight that for right now. And those are basically the only items that I really want to highlight here. Again, at this stage of the game, the funds that we do have, we will have to manage those going forward. And, but at least we are where we would hope to be at this point in time. Are there any other questions that one of you might have?
Council? I see a $90,000 shortfall in actual versus budgeted in salaries and wages.
What page you looking
Page 5, first one on operating expenses.
at? Mm-hmm.
The actual
But
is
that's not a
207.
shortfall.
No, I'm
What?
saying we spent a lot less than.
Yes,
budgeted.
right, and you know why. Well, you're not fully staffed. Right,
Sure.
okay. Well, no, you haven't been fully staffed for these first 5 months, and that's why you have a shortfall there. Mhm. That's why you're under budget, because you're not fully staffed
And the
in general fund there.
and the revenue that would have been going, for example, to what I believe was our highest paid city employee, the public works supervisor, is no longer there.
Right, and then your treasurer's not here either. Mhm. And that's another high-paid employee that's not here.
Gotcha. Anything else? Okay, thank you, sir. Municipal court. Judge Alexander.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You have my report. I would like to thank Mr. Johnson for the nice compliment, but it is a group effort. But we have been putting forth a lot of effort towards collections, but we can't collect on cases that are not filed. So it's a team effort for us to increase the revenue for the city. So if you have any questions regarding my report, I'll answer those questions. But in the meantime, I would like to say that regarding FEMA, we have a site inspection scheduled Thursday, April 12th at 10 o'clock a.m. And U.S. Water, Mr. Bostic will be, and Mr. Byron will be assisting us again with the site inspection. And I would like to, I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
sir.
for the benefit of our residents, would you share with them kind of what's been, because you've been really doing an incredible job in leading us in that FEMA Hurricane Harvey effort. So if you would share with them a little bit more or less what that site inspection
Okay,
essentially means or part of that process.
okay. We had a council meeting, I think, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where we talked about the old Houston lift station and some damage that was done that was a little bit questionable. Mr. Bostic, I think you were up giving that report at the time.
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't really know if FEMA was going to accept that as a recovery item or not. But we did report it, and they're going to come out and do an inspection on the old Houston Highway lift station and determine if the damages that were done to the lift station are recoverable for the city.
Great.
Okay. So they'll be out April 12th at 10 o'clock a.m. and we'll be out there. Okay.
And I think the essence, again, for the benefit of the audience, is the city and some of our equipment, lift stations and other things, or the time that our emergency responders, particularly our police department, put in, quite a bit of that is recoverable. So we've basically been treating FEMA like an insurance claim. You know, we spent this, had it repaired or replaced, and now we're going through the process led by Judge Alexander in recovering back some of those costs. In other words, some of the money that's already been spent, that we had to spend to make sure all of our stuff was working, now we'll be getting some of those funds back. So we didn't want to just spend them and let them go, which is what some areas do. We've been taking the time and making the effort to recoup that, because this is just us being good stewards of our residents, primarily tax dollars, because this is your money that was spent to fix it. Now we're seeing how much of it we can get back in repairing everything from the roof. We had another guy up there recent us today.
Today.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And is he going to be able to give an estimate on any of the outside exterior work as well?
He didn't say he didn't say that to me. He
Okay.
just spoke of the roof and the problems with that.
Right. I know they do roofs, so I made him aware we might need some others, but again, it may be out of his scope. So, any questions, counsel, for Judge Alexander?
May I address the audience, sir?
Sure.
You all, if you were here last year, this is our second annual Seasoned Citizen Traffic Safety Symposium. And this is a traffic safety conference. It's going to be even better than it was last year. I'm not going to say who Seasoned Citizen is, But if you feel like you're a seasoned citizen, if you feel like you're a seasoned citizen, come out. You're gonna really enjoy the information that is presented. And it's better this year than it was last year. And it's really, really valuable information, and it saves lives. It saves lives. So the date, save the date, May 25th, 2018, and it's gonna start 9:30 a.m. for registration. And then we have another event called the Car Fit event, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail. So I'm going to put information, there is information on the website. I'll put more information on the website, and I'm always here. So stop by and talk to me, and let's generate some excitement, because we're going to have a really, really good time at our second annual Seasoned Citizen Traffic Safety Symposium. All right.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Mayor.
And police report, Chief Solomon.
You have my report unless you have any questions to extend.
Well, I think with you being a part of that team the judge referenced or something,
Yes.
you got some new guys and they've been training and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to share with, yeah, what, 4 new guys that are,
Yes. Not at this time. We've got some things coming up that we want to share next city council meeting.
okay, good stuff. All right, thank you. And again, keep up the good work. We appreciate what you guys are doing. Folks are feeling safer. And the feedback from people, they've been doing a lot more community policing, and that's been well recognized by a lot of folks.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Chief, as always, the contacts, you know, I always like to applaud you guys, because the visibility of the guys is prevalent, and I think that does a big deal as far as crime prevention, as far as much as anything else. So, you know, I can say that when I'm sitting outside my house, I can see them drive past my house a couple of times. So I just commend, I start with the leadership, so I commend you.
Well, thank you. We've actually added a crime prevention police officer that we're sending to some major training, and you'll see more of that coming soon.
Just appreciate it. Let the guys know we want them to stay safe. Ordinance violations report. Officer White came in at 5 o'clock this morning, but he's working with Mayor Pro Tem and Councilwoman Wendy Williams. Do you have that report up there?
Code enforcement and ordinance report. Ordinance and code enforcement are working together to beautify the city to attract more businesses and residents, thereby paving the way for lower residential property taxes. I am giving this report on behalf of Officer White. Officer White, who is a certified code enforcement officer, is using a computer program designed for tracking violations and follow-ups. As we grow with the use of this program, reporting a needed street repair or even a loose dog will become a lot easier and more effective for residents. In addition to becoming familiar with code enforcement software, 100 properties have been identified to receive 10-day letters to correct any violations. If violations according to our city ordinances of the International Property Code are not corrected within the designated 10 days, a citation will be issued and fines will be assessed. Our goal is not to issue citations or fines, but rather to encourage property owners to take care of their property and do their part to maintain a beautiful city that will ultimately provide a healthier, safer environment for everyone. Code enforcement has a tray in the main office here at City Hall, and we ask your assistance in identifying any issues that you feel may be a code enforcement or ordinance violation. Leave us a note or send us an email, wwhite@prairieviewtexas.gov or wwilliams@prairieviewtexas.gov. Your concern will be investigated. Officer White, Code Enforcement, Councilman Wendy Williams, Ordinance Chair.
Great, thank you, ma'am. Anything else along those lines on your report that you wanted to share? Just okay. Delinquent tax report. Attorney Daniel, it's good to see you. How we doing?
I'm great.
Good. We appreciate the job that you all have been doing for us. So
Thank you.
give us a update.
Mayor, council members, citizens, senior citizens, seasoned citizens, I'm sorry.
Get it right.
Get it right. Just wanted to give a quick update. I know you have a busy agenda. I'll be brief. Begin with it's that time of the year. We're having a delinquent tax sale on May the 1st. Be held at the courthouse. The law dictates that that's held between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. If you have any questions about that, I'll be around for a while here at this meeting, so you make sure you can ask me any questions that you might have about that. Next, just update you, we have a tax docket on April 23rd. We'll be down at the courthouse. If anybody wants to come see how that works, you're more than welcome to come. Another thing I want to talk about, this is a procedural issue, and that deals with payment agreements. You know, it's better for all parties involved, the city, our law firm, or citizens, for parties to pay their taxes before action takes place. You can also get in a payment agreement. That's why we have an employee who's in the county once a week. She's either here or Brookshire. She's usually here every other week. Your tax assessor is the Waller ISD tax assessor. You can always go by their office or come by City Hall. You can always make appointments with us. We have 2 offices in Houston, 1 downtown and 1 in the Galleria area. We feel we're always very accessible to any citizens who want to talk to us about any tax problems or tax issues. Trust me, we'd like to get those resolved because, you know, it is, I don't think we really pay much attention to how tedious it is to have to file a lawsuit and to end up with a tax sale. That is not an easy process. Sometimes it takes up to 1.5 years for that to happen. It is easier for everyone involved if parties were to enter into a payment agreement or repay amounts that are owed to the city. And so that's something we always strive for first. Lastly, what I wanted to talk about is that next week on the 17th, we're going to have a group of Prairie View students come to our office. We did this last year also. And last year we had a project, it was a collections project. And our managing partner, Norman Nelson, he offered jobs, summer jobs, to those Prairie View A&M students who were there that tour. And I think we ended up hiring 4 of those students to come and work in the office. And some of those even worked past the summer because we had some vacancies in the office, and they applied and were hired by our firm. They actually work our firm full time. So I think we have 2 Prairie View A&M students just who visited that day who work in the office. We actually have some other Prairie View alumni who work in the office also. But we're going to do that again next Tuesday. It's where they come to our office, they see how a law firm works. A lot of them are interested in practicing law or maybe attending law school in the future. And so we're going to do that next week. It's very exciting. And I'm not sure if we have any jobs available for this summer, but if we do, I'm sure Mr. Nelson will make that same offer to them. And that's all I have for tonight.
Council, any questions for Mr. Well, we thank you, and again, we appreciate how, and I certainly want to let you know that we thank you for helping us get some of the things that were basically off our tax rolls because they were under Waller ISD or Waller County, but they were sitting dilapidated in Prairie View. So we couldn't touch them because we weren't the ones that initiated the proceedings. And I believe, if Ms. Alex shared with me, that all of those have gone from under those umbrellas, under ours, and are now back.
That is true.
Turned over.
We handled it like a little project, and we did get that accomplished. Yeah. I mean,
We appreciate it.
I see you, Your Honor. I'm so used to being court Mayor. We did get those.
Close enough, close enough.
Close enough.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Sir. Public Works, anything you want to share this evening? I know you give your regular report.
Yes, we'll have our regular report the last Monday of the month. I'm just here if there's any questions for operations of the city's facilities.
Anything from council? Yes.
All right, question. A couple weeks ago, it was asked that we get you guys a contract. And my question would be, why are you guys still under the emergency contract?
We are still currently under an emergency contract, and I don't know, Mayor, if you want to
Yeah,
expound on
that
that.
would be, that would be more us than you. Because there were so many things that they encountered, that we ran into Hurricane Harvey and some other things. So rather than put something out for bid and have someone come in the middle of the stream, it was more prudent to stay with folks who had already taken the time and we spent the money to bring our system up to speed. They're more knowledgeable about it. And now we're, I think, pretty close to, or everything's pretty much working the way it's supposed to.
We are almost at 100%. We're still waiting on the controller and the lift pump for Old Houston lift station. Once that's complete, we'll get all the FEMA paperwork signed off on and completed, and then we'll be at normal operations.
And that was another piece, because USW and Mr. Bossett and Mr. Byron were assisting us with FEMA. As Judge Alexander shared, they were familiar with what we went through. FEMA is more or less an insurance component. They also were very instrumental in assisting us with our Texas Municipal League insurance claims. Those you direct, I put you or authorize you to deal with them directly. And so they were handling a lot, and as public works supervisor, I got enough on my plate. So their assistance with that was critical. Mr. Johnson, I believe we spent in that arena somewhere around $160,000, but $90,000 has already been recouped through insurance claims?
Yes.
Okay, see, so it was staying on top of that was just a financial benefit, but now that we're pretty much leveled off, like I say, we're still waiting on a couple of things. Council?
Yes, sir.
We'll be looking to put that out
The
for
RFQ.
bid now that we're straight. So
Yes.
if you could assist us with that, that
So I'm
would be
working
great to
on-
get this.
Yes, I'm working on the request for proposal qualifications right now.
Great, okay, thank you. So that'll take care of that part. Councilman Randall?
My question is pertaining to the development on Richards Road. Have y'all had any input or involvement as far as how that development will impact our infrastructure in our lift station on Richards Road?
Yes, we actually talked about it briefly last week in the Q&A. And I've also talked to the fire chief as well after that meeting. We discussed how the water line would be running in that development as far as, because there were some pressure concerns. So we had some discussion on putting a loop system in there and increasing the volume of water so that way you have the velocity to give you that pressure. And then we've also discussed running a gravity line and tying it into that lift station right there at Richards Road, Brookside. That lift station has been upgraded, so it used to have one 5 horsepower grinder pump with a 2-inch discharge. It now has two 7.5 horsepower no clog pumps with a 4-inch discharge line. So it should be able to keep up with the capacity. There's plenty of capacity there.
You said y'all just had this conversation last week?
Yeah, we touched on it briefly.
Well, that's also because they weren't a part of the process, so that's okay too. Because I think when we went out there initially, we met with the fire chief and something, that was like a couple months ago.
Yes, Byron met out there with the contractor and the fire chief.
Okay, and about how long ago was that, Mr. Hughes?
About a month and a half ago.
Okay, so somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks ago, so it just didn't happen right after. Okay, just want the record to be clear. You have another question, Councilman?
My question is, right, we have 17 stations in the city, or like from what we had talked about the other day at the emergency meeting.
There's currently 8 lift stations in the city of Prairie.
All right, so what is it that you counted that